You spend a solid chunk of your day staring at it. But for most of human history, your own face was a complete mystery to you. Think about it. Before bathroom mirrors and front-facing cameras, how did you know what you looked like? You looked at your reflection in a puddle, or maybe a pool of water collected in a rock. But ripples distort, and water is dark. Later on, ancient folks polished metals like bronze or copper, but those gave you a blurry, yellowish, completely unflattering version of yourself. Early mirrors made of obsidian were basically just shiny black rocks. They were dim and terrifying. People literally went their entire lives without ever seeing a crisp, clear image of their own face. They knew they had a nose because they could look down and see it. They knew they had eyes because other people told them, but they didn't really know how their face fit together. Self-awareness was entirely a group project. You were what your village saw. Your identity was built from the outside in. Then came the Renaissance, and everything changed. On a tiny island in Venice called Murano, glassmakers were doing crazy experiments. They figured out how to blow perfectly flat glass cylinders, cut them open, and flatten them out. But the real magic happened when they started backing this clear glass with a secret amalgam of tin and mercury. Boom. The modern mirror was born. For the first time ever, human beings could see themselves in high definition. Colors were accurate. Details were sharp. No blur. Can you imagine the existential crisis? People were suddenly hit with the reality of their own exact appearance. They saw their pores. They saw their weird hairlines. They realized their left eye was slightly lower than their right. This clear reflection triggered a massive shift in human psychology. The mirror basically gave birth to the modern ego. Before mirrors, portraiture was mostly about showing off your wealth or your power. Kings didn't care if they looked a little chubby in a painting, as long as the crown looked shiny. But once mirrors became a thing, artists started painting themselves. A lot. The self-portrait became a whole new genre of art. People started looking inward. They started caring about their posture, their wrinkles, and their fashion choices. The concept of the individual really took off. You were no longer just a member of a crowd. You were a single, distinct face looking back at yourself. It quietly turned us into a society obsessed with self-image. We started judging ourselves. We started comparing our reflections to the reflections of others. The mirror made us deeply, intensely self-conscious. Have you ever tried to go a whole day without looking in a mirror? It feels incredibly weird. You lose your anchor to your own physical reality. Without that daily check-in, you start to float away from your appearance. You become a ghost in your own mind. The mirror yanks you back. It forces you to acknowledge the flesh and bone you are walking around in. It is a wild piece of technology when you think about it. Just a sheet of glass and a metallic coating. Yet it quietly rewired human consciousness. It took us from being a collective species that only knew itself through the eyes of others, and turned us into a world of individuals staring at our own reflections. So the next time you check your teeth after lunch, or spend a little too long adjusting your hair, just remember, you aren't being vain. You are just participating in a 500-year-old psychological experiment.